Last night the game was Yahtzee, and I didn't get the bonus points on the top category. And so I didn't get those 35 bonus points. And then Julie got stuff. She destroyed me. She beat me by 75 points. But there's always another game tonight. Hey, here's your love bombardment question for the day. You remember yesterday I set up the idea of a love bombardment where you just kind of say stuff, building up stuff to each one of your family members. And so here's the question. The way you blank is legendary. Fill in the blank. The way you do blank is legendary. You can go around to each person, everybody in your family, address that person and say, man, the way you do this is legendary. You can push the pause button. You can do that now if you want to, or you can wait till afterwards. People under stress do crazy things, and stress usually causes some sort of conflict. And I was reading recently of the crazy things that people do to each other in times like this. Like, here's two examples. A brother sewed raw tuna into the bottom of his brother's bedroom curtains. How'd you think of that one? That's incredible. Can you imagine after about 3 or 4 days how that tuna would be smelling? Now, kids, don't get any ideas here. Here's another one. I think some siblings did this to one another. I super glued his deodorant, shaving cream, toothpaste, and hairspray closed. Flipped all the batteries in his remotes and rubbed sugar water all over his counters so that they would be unbearably sticky. Stress causes us to do crazy things. In times like this, we often lash out. Our true behavior comes out. And our behavior, how we act, does matter. Listen to Proverbs, and feel free to flip to these if you want, but Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. This is what it says. It says, if a ruler pays attention to falsehood, all his ministers become wicked. So the idea, if a leader, if a parent, if a ruler pays attention to falsehood, if they're spending time focusing on the wrong things, well, all those underneath him become wicked. The simple principle, so go the leader, so go the follower. There's no secret that God has called us, his children, to be light in the midst of darkness. And again, what a great opportunity. This is a time of stress. And what a great opportunity to be light in the midst of darkness. So we have choices. Every morning we wake up, every night we go to bed. We have choices. And we can choose to spew discontent. Our attitude can influence, or we can choose to edify rather than being a cynic. I think of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. And this is the choice we have. It says, let no unwholesome word, the word there is impure, and unwholesome words can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They can be degrading, emotionally abusive. So let no unwholesome word, let no unclean word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word that's good for edification according to the need of the moment. So it can give grace to those who hear. And the word edify simply means build up. And this is a real litmus test for you and your family. Are you going to be cynics? Are you going to tear one another down? Or are you going to build one another up? It's so easy to tear one another down, but it takes an act of our will and an intentionality to say we're going to build each other up. When you look at the landscape, it is impossible to forecast all that's going to take place because of the complexity of the situation. There's no way. And so what's required of us is, and you've heard me say this before, is to do the next best right thing. How do you do the next best right thing? Well, in our humanity, we don't know perfectly, but we can sure be intentional to make sure we're trying to do the next best right thing. I think a great guide for us is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. And so the question, how do we do the next best right thing? Let's read this. It says, trust in the Lord. I'm reading from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, acknowledge God, and He will make your path straight. So here's a great exercise. We need to start by acknowledging God and all that He can do. God knows what He's doing, and He is in control. Here's a great exercise that you can do as a family. Compare God's knowledge with our knowledge. And you could just do a list. Okay, here's God's knowledge, and brainstorm as a family. Here's our knowledge. And what you'll see is there's a finiteness to our knowledge, but there's an infinitude. There's no limit to His knowledge. And so then you begin to consider, if I choose to trust myself in times like this, I'm going to make the path very rugged. And you know what? If I choose to trust myself, I could make the path for everybody else I'm around very rugged. But if I trust God, well, He's going to make my path straight through all of the stuff we're going through. And I thought of an example. I mean, picture going through a maze. You can kind of see that. I just kind of threw together a maze based upon my hen scratch. And if you choose to maneuver through all the circumstances we're going through with the coronavirus and being on lockdown, if you choose to maneuver through life through your understanding, it's going to be like you're going to make life rough for you. You're going to be going through this proverbial maze, trying to get through it on your own, and it's going to be rough. But here's the thing. You're going to make it painful for everybody else around you. So God says, don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He'll make your path straight. So it's kind of like we can try to get through the maze of all these circumstances on our own. But if we trust God, it's kind of like He creates a super highway through this thing. And if we lean on His understanding, He's going to get us through these circumstances. And He's going to guide us to do the next best right thing. And that's going to seize the day. So have fun discussing this as a family, and do a game tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.